Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, Finding Joy in Everyday. And as it's Sunday, this is Sundays with Susanna. So today I'm going to talk about pet grief. I have spoken about grief before in relation to my mum and dad, but I'm going to talk about pet grief. And the reason I'm talking about it now is that last week was the first anniversary of the passing of my beautiful dog, George. George was 12 and the absolute love of my life. He was just the best thing ever. I got George when my dad died in 2013. And yeah, he kind of arrived because I just had this massive hole in my heart from when my dad passed away, and my children were also leaving home. And I just felt this, the empty nest syndrome. And I just thought, I just need a little dog. Just to look after and to care for and love. And so George came. George was a Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, a Ruby. And he was named George after my dad. And he was just a bundle of joy and love. And he just gave me everything I needed then, and we did so much together. My husband and I kind of just loved having him around. It was, but we did more than that. We took him everywhere with us, and I know a lot of people do, a lot of dog owners do take their dogs everywhere. But George was quite well travelled. We went to Switzerland a lot with him. We drove. He was in the back of the car in he had like a little seat that was all enclosed, and he was all seat belted and harnessed in. And we drove down to Folkestone, got the Channel Tunnel across to France, drove through France, and then went to Switzerland with him, where we would meet up with our friends, Swiss friends, who also have two Cavaliers too. So he was very well travelled, and we literally took him everywhere. We just loved having adventures with him, and yeah, he was a massive part of our life. He was our family. And I think that a lot of people don't understand that. But if you're a pet owner, you will totally get it. Anyway, we got to about the age of, he was about 6, 7 when he was diagnosed with a heart issue. It's very common in Cavaliers, and so we kind of expected it, and it wasn't that bad. And we just still carried on as normal. He had no issues with it at all, but it was just, the vet just kept an eye on it. When he got to the age of 9, he was very suddenly diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer. I found it quite by accident. It was just a little growth on his lip, and everything happened so suddenly. He was referred to a specialist unit, and they told us it was very aggressive, and he had a 5% chance of living for another 4 weeks. It was that sudden. It was a massive shock, and because he looked and acted so well, there was nothing outwardly you would tell him, but it was a very aggressive form of cancer. So they suggested we try some immune therapy with him, which was quite new. They were trialling it. We said yes. He had an operation to remove the cancer, the tumour, and then started this immune therapy. And he had that every 6 months. At exactly the 12th month, he was scanned, checked out, blood tests. There was no cancer at all. It was like a miracle, really, honestly. We'd gone from such a low point to after that, and we'd taken him to Switzerland twice in that year, thinking we're going to have some great holidays. We went for a month each time, so we were there for 2 months. And we just had an amazing, we said, well, we'll just have an amazing time, and if he doesn't make it, we've given him everything, and he's given us such joy. We came back from Switzerland, and as I said, he was retested and there was no cancer. And he even rang the bell to say he'd finished his treatment and he was cancer-free. Oh my gosh, it was just amazing. It was like being given a second chance. And in a weird way, I think our love for him intensified. I know mine did then, because I almost expected to lose him. And I felt like, I don't know, somebody up there had said, you've got more time with him. So he was 10 then. And, we just had an amazing time with him, and the adventures we had with him. Oh my gosh, it was amazing. That little boy was just an absolute bundle of joy. And then in 2025, I was literally just lifting him over a step, because it seemed like he couldn't step over it, and I felt a big lump in his side. I just had a bad feeling, that's all I can say. So we took him straight to the vet. He was scanned, and we were told he had a very aggressive tumour and wouldn't last 2 weeks with it. I think looking back, when we look at photos, he had slowed down in that last month and was just looking quite fragile. So we had the awful decision to make to put him to sleep. We took him to the beach for a day, took him on his favourite walk, and then he was put to sleep. Absolutely broke my heart. Absolutely broke my heart, because he came at a time when my dad had just died quite suddenly, and he brought such joy and comfort. He was always there if you wanted to cuddle. Anybody who knows what a Cavalier is like, we call them Velcro dogs because they're always stuck to you. He just wanted to be with us, snuggled on the sofa, snuggled on the bed. He was just the most loving, adorable dog. And I was absolutely heartbroken. Absolutely heartbroken. I remember the vet came to the house to actually put him to sleep, which we requested. And I just remember when the vet then took him away, because we had requested his ashes to come back. Just the feeling in the house. His leads were hanging up, and his bowl was still there, his blankets, his bed, his favourite toys. And I thought, oh my gosh, my life is just going to dramatically change now. Sadly, it happened at a time when we were going through some difficulties, shall we say, which is why we're moving house now. But then to lose George when, life was already a little bit difficult, was just like somebody to completely pull the rug from under me. And I felt absolutely lost. I have to say, I probably felt lost for weeks. I just remember just wandering around, and of course you don't go out for walks because it's like, what's the point? I know people can go for walks without a dog. Of course you can, but we'd always walked with George, and I just thought, well, there's no point. So we stopped going out for a walk. I didn't want to keep bumping into dogs, although every time I went out, I kept seeing cavaliers everywhere. And it was just like this feeling of somebody thumped me in the stomach, and honestly, it was just heartbreaking. Yeah, anyone who tells you that pet grief isn't real don't know what they're talking about, really, because it is. And I think that probably only pet owners understand what it means to feel heartbroken after your pet has passed away. I'm not saying that people without pets are just mean, and they're not, but I don't think they have the same understanding about what it means to lose, part of your family so suddenly. And so it was really hard, and I think pet grief is so hard. And probably, I think for many reasons, I think it's hard because people don't recognise it. You lose a member of your family, and people are quite sympathetic. You lose your dog, and sometimes people can say, "Oh, we'll just get another one," and that's supposed to make you feel better. It doesn't. Don't say it to people, because it doesn't make you feel better. Also, there's no actual ending. You don't have a funeral. You don't have a funeral service. You don't have flowers or readings or hymns, whatever. Or there's no formal ending to it. They get put to sleep, and then that's it. Yeah, it's a tough one, really, and I think that it's now a year last week it was, and that honestly I still can cry at a moment's notice about George. I don't mind admitting it, because he was really special, and you can't, you get a dog, that the likelihood is that they're going to pass away before you. You know that. But I don't know, nothing prepares you for it, really, because you don't know how bad you're going to feel when they've gone. And so you can't ever prepare for how you're going to feel, because you don't know how you're going to feel. So yeah, pet grief is tough, and it's year now, and okay, it's not as raw as it was, but he was my special dog, and I just wish he was here. I look at his photos all the time. He's still on my screensaver on my phone. And in last November, I think it was, we decided to get another dog. Now, was it the right time? Who knows? You know what? I did a lot of research. When's the right time to get a dog? Well, people say, well, get one straight away, and then you're so busy with your new dog, you don't grieve over the old one. Some people say, wait, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years. I could never come on here and say, this is the ideal time, because you know what? Who knows? Who knows when the right time is? I think it's so individual. And yeah, we got Charlie, and I think I was still grieving a lot for George. So was it the right time? I'm not sure. Maybe a little bit too early, because I was still grieving so much. Of course, Charlie's lovely, and he's a puppy, and he's a Cavalier King Charles too. And he's a little handful, and he's got his own personality, and he's adorable and we love him to bits. But I think maybe I got him a little bit too early. I don't think I was quite ready. But I kind of felt, I need a dog. This pain hurts so much. I need a dog to cuddle and hug and look after and go on all these adventures. We were, like we used to do with George, we were going out and it just felt so empty when we were going to places. We were going on holiday and we used to look at each other and say, I wish George were here. It's not the same without George. We were dogless, and I kind of wanted to fill that gap by getting Charlie so I didn't have to feel that when we went out. And yes, it did fill that gap, because when we go out, we're so busy with Charlie. He was a very young pup, so we were trying to train him, etc. But I think I was still grieving. I think if I, looking back, I'd probably have left it a year before I got another dog. For me, because I was still grieving so much for George, and it didn't take it away like I thought it would. But you live and learn, who knows? To be honest, I could have waited a year and it wouldn't have been the right time. I think it's so individual, isn't it? But yeah, so losing a pet, and this can apply to any pet. I'm just talking about a dog here. I've had a lot of cats too. And my last cat died about 5 years ago, and he was such a special cat, Billy. He was just the best. And there will never be another Billy. And I still think about him every day, Maybe I'm a sensitive old soul, feeling so sensitive about my pets and those that I've lost. But that's me, if you grieve hard when you've lost your pet, then that's okay, because it's heartbreaking. You feel heartbroken, then I think I tried to fight it. I tried to say, oh my gosh, I still can't be feeling heartbroken, a month later, 2 months later. I kept trying to almost push it away, and I think it was the wrong thing to do, because there's nothing wrong with grieving the pet that you've just had as part of your family, that you adored and loved and done so much with. And yeah, it's very individual. So don't beat yourself up about grieving your pet, because you be you and just feel the way you feel, because that's okay. Don't listen to other people. Don't feel that you have to act a certain way. I think it's better to let the grief be and to grieve how you need to grieve. I have just finished a book, actually. I've written a book about pet grief, because it felt really cathartic to write it, and I wrote it from the heart, and I've actually just finished editing it. So that'll be published soon. So when it is, I'll put a link down here. I'll add a link later on when it's published. And yeah, I think that pet grief is massive. I don't think we talk about it enough. So maybe this was a good topic to talk about today. So that's it for today. It feels like another sad one, but it's not. I think it's important that we talk about it and support each other when we've lost a beloved pet, and to know that it's normal to feel the grief for losing our pet. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and we all go through it. Pet owners go through it generally, because we generally outlive our pets. So don't feel bad if you're still grieving your dog, cat, budgie, whatever, rabbit, whatever. Don't feel bad that you're still grieving them, a year, 2 years, 3 years, because that's what grief does to you, Grief is a reminder that we loved someone, something so much. That's how bad it hurts. So it's just a reminder of your love for your pet, why you're grieving so much. So don't be ashamed of it. And yeah, I think I might have a little cry again about George. I love to look at his photos before I go to bed and say good night, George, because he was my lovely, lovely little angel, and I miss him very much. But before that, I have to walk Charlie. So back to reality. But I hope you've enjoyed it today. I hope it's helped in some way. I hope it opens the doors for people to talk about pet grief a little bit more. And just know that you're not alone. And, you know, if you're going through it right now and it's quite raw, then you know, just keep going, take it a day at a time. And I'm sending you all my love because I know how much it hurts. So thank you for stopping by today to watch this video. And I'll be back next week, next Sunday, with another Sundays with Susanna. And I really appreciate you watching this till the bitter end. So thank you all and take care. Bye for now.